Go Irish, beat Penn State. Go Irish, beat Penn State. Go Irish, beat Penn State. Here we go. Beat the Lions, Nittany Lions, in the Orange Bowl. Irish on to victory. Welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful Show. I am Joe, sitting on a Sugar Bowl throne of victory. But we ain't done yet. No, season's not done. And we still had the Glen Foundry in the pantry, so we are going to keep drinking that because there's some good vibes going on with that particular bottle. Because that's been our bottle for quite a while, so let's keep this one going. Thank you for joining us for Volume 148, Season 5, Episode 29. Irish in Miami to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. I don't know what a Nittany Lion is. Maybe because Cougar sounded weird. I don't know. It's pretty much what it is. But we're here to talk about the fate of Notre Dame, where we are this season. And we are not done. We are ready to take on and resurrect some older bad blood with Penn State. So thank you, everyone. It was fun. Our last show we did, I probably listened to it at least 3 times since, after beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Great to get the New Year's 6 win. But now it seems like kind of like a, quote, normal show because we don't have all this epic distraction, which is Notre Dame being, can we win a New Year's 6 finally? And, we can move on from that and just say, look, now we have this game in Miami. Maybe there's some demons people have about, a game that happened there in January of 2013 or the last time we played there in 2017. Honestly, I'm not even thinking about that because I know damn well that this Notre Dame team is way better than the 2017 team and certainly better than the 2012 team. Okay, so we can get into those internal stats if we really want to, or somebody wants me to look at, but that is not my focus tonight. It is purely with our opponent, Penn State. We're going to look at their record. We're going to throw some rocks actually at Sagarin. I know, shocking, because I do a lot of talk about Sagarin. I'm really questioning the strength of schedule of Sagarin because they put Georgia really high, but then when I was looking at record and some of these other things, and it's like, and even like margin of victory, and it's like Notre Dame is clearly better if I look at the regular season, which is what I limited the calculus to because that's what I did with IU. I also ran it with Georgia after we talked to, I think his name was Jim, the Michigan guy who wanted us to beat Georgia but was sympathizing Georgia. That was a fun show, by the way. Irish JTL got really heated there for a while, but it was good. We're going to throw rocks at Drew Aller because I think he's way overrated as a quarterback. And then we're going to talk about stats that will scare the shit out about you. And some that Notre Dame and Penn State are very, very equal with, which is a lot. And then, of course, stats that Notre Dame is better. So what I find interesting is that there are 8 stats for both Penn State and Notre Dame that they are better at significantly than the opponent. So we will talk about that. We'll freak you out a little bit, but then we'll bring you home here. So before we do that, let's get to my co-host, Red Snapper 9098, who's been absent for a little while. Maybe you should remain absent. I don't know.
Well, that's what happens when the show falls during rent collection and I don't leave work till almost 8 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, I know. And you're, at least I'm doing it on a Wednesday now, so maybe it's a little later in the week, so we got through hump day, right?
Exactly.
How are you doing,
But
by the way? I'm seeing all these like fires and like Los Angeles is burning. Like,
California's been interesting, just crazy winds up and down the coast.
Good God.
In Anaheim, where I'm at, we've had bursts up to 40, 50 mile an hour winds. Wow. Nothing crazy here at the apartment complex that I manage, but San Bernardino had a ton of traffic because big rigs got toppled on the 210, the 10, the 15, and the 215.
Well, especially coming down that 15 there. It's like a fucking wind tunnel there.
Oh, yeah. So there was tons of toppled big rigs in San Bernardino, lots of roofs, solar panels, things like that off people's roofs because they were getting 80, 100 mile an hour winds out there.
Gosh, that's like hurricane shit.
And then you have the fires going on. Pacific Palisades has been hit the hardest.
Wow.
The absolute just failure in the, how do I even say it?
Fire department?
The fire department doesn't have water in the hydrants to put the fires out.
There's a fucking ocean right there. Who cares if it's salt water?
Yeah, so there's a lot of finger pointing going on right now, and yeah, it's
like the same bullshit that happened in Maui, except not nearly as bad as Maui.
Actually, everyone's finding a lot of the same parallels. So there's a lot of conspiracy theorists going on right now, and can't really argue with.
If you start seeing people like Oprah trying to buy up property, then you'll know it's a problem. Oh wait, no, because that actually did happen. But we don't need to talk about that. I'm glad you are safe, Red Snapper, and hopefully the rest of the faithful out in California. Prayers to those people. That sucks. We did not get Red Snapper's reaction to the Georgia win and winning our New Year's Six, so we'll afford you a little bit of time to get your 2 cents here before we go over to our specialist of special teams. I see Jimmy Joe's also requested. We'll also get our front man in here at some point.
I think the biggest difference in this team is the intangibles, the toughness, the heart that you see in this team, and unfortunately it did take the loss to NIU to gain that, but I think having that loss is where this team has rebuilt themselves and have basically given themselves a winning mindset because they know the work and the heart and the camaraderie that it's going to take. And so I think this mindset is that intangible that set them apart from previous Notre Dame teams. And just the toughness you saw. Okay, Riley Mills went down. Did the defensive line look like it phased them?
No.
Nope, next guy up.
Not at all.
And they...
In fact, you could even argue technically on paper maybe they were better because we far exceeded our season average of sacks and tackles for loss. I mean, we had 10 against IU, but we had 9 tackles for loss, but 4 sacks. I'm going to have to be hard pressed to find more than that in the list here. But I mean, that's better than national champion average per game. So, yeah.
No, and honestly, that was just, you saw the difference. They took the fight to Georgia. They were the aggressor.
And I guess Florida State was the worst. We had technically 8 sacks, but Florida State is trash. But
yeah. But I see the same thing happening to Penn State. It's going to be a good physical trench warfare style game. I see it being another low scoring game. Let's let the defense roll. Let it do its thing.
We had 4 sacks against Stanford, but let's compare the quality of the opponent. 4 sacks against Stanford, okay, versus 4 sacks and the monsters on the O-line that was Georgia. Okay, like big difference there in the magnitude and effectivity against, the quality of athlete we were going against, right?
No, and some of the stunts, some of the schemes for the blitzes, like brilliant play calls, perfect timing. So where you see earlier in the season ill-timed blitzes versus what resulted in the Georgia game. I mean, just brilliant calls. Yeah. Perfectly timed blitzes, perfect stunts. It was awesome to see. It was beautiful. And I loved watching that grinder style game because it was a physical trench warfare game.
I mean, what's I think the misleading piece, and I made a comment similar to Irish JTL in the post game show. Notre Dame wins by 13 points. Okay, now what's going to throw people off is the fact, well, Notre Dame only had 23 points. Like, okay, but like if you just bump up the scores and say we win, like, I don't know, 45 to 30, you know what I mean? Like 32 or something. Like, do you actually feel better even though it's the same margin of victory? The answer is no. I feel so much better with a low scoring game, aim small, miss small kind of thing. But I think the key piece isn't so much Notre Dame's score. It's what we did to Georgia. We gave them 10 fucking points, and that's it. 10. So,
big time.
It's
big
huge.
Time.
That's the huge piece.
I think in a very subtle way, a nice kind of breath of fresh air was Mitch Jeter.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They were distanced. They were solid. Like I think his first field goal, you just saw a collective sigh come out of that team because of his injury and inconsistency previous, games in the year, and all of a sudden he hits a 48-yarder, and you just saw everybody just okay, and then the next one, 43 or whatever it was, 45, okay, and
so keep it going, man. Keep it going.
3 40+ yard field goals, brilliant.
Yeah, it is great. It's really great to see the success of him. I remember when he hit his first one, I was like, all right, way to go. That's what I need you to do today on this football team, which is kick big field goals, because it's going to be that kind of a game, right? So,
and you're going to need those in those big games. The difference is going to be 3 points, 10 points. It's going to require PATs and field goals.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does come down to the little things here and there. Well, let's segue over to Mac here, and then we'll go get Luis. Mac was very, very patient last show, and he helped close us out in a great way. So thank you. And so we're not rewarding him, but we are kind of talking special teams and stuff. But Mac, our specialist of special teams, will bring you on right away, man.
How are you? I'm sorry. See, I didn't know that that you were having a show that day. That's why I was like, I didn't know how late you were. So that's I was
nothing to apologize. It's just, I felt kind of bad. I didn't actually see any of your messages until after the show was all done. I was like, what's all this from Mac? And you're like, please, I want to talk. And I'm like, my bad.
No,
had I known that, I would have brought you on sooner.
I came at the end of the show. So that's why I was like, oh, shoot, because I didn't know. And because I just went on Twitter, turned on the Sharks, and was like, there's a show.
Show.
Anyway, yes. Anyway, I got Rudy's meeting John Favreau right now.
Okay.
I got Rudy on right now.
Oh, so you're in O'Shaughnessy Hall. Nice.
Yes.
It's really fun to walk down that hallway because it looks exactly like the movie. Even the little like cafe off to the side, like where he goes in after I think his second semester and he's sitting at the table there. It looks exactly like that. It seriously does.
My boy is zoned into this movie right now.
How old's your son?
He is, let's see, September he turned 1, so October, November, December. So +4, so 16 months.
Okay. Has he not discovered Paw Patrol yet? Is that what we're...
Well, I mean, he likes Pupstruction and Bluey.
Okay.
But he's very focused.
I think adults like Bluey too, quite frankly.
See, my wife likes Bluey and puts that one on.
It is funny. We've actually cut back huge in the TV department with the kid. It was getting a little out of hand around here, and we're like, he's kind of being disobedient and bratty, so we're gonna turn the ship around now while we can. So, but
yeah,
all right.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to shift gears back. We can have dad and parenting discussions later, but yeah, if you're having your kid watch Rudy, I'm down with that. So excellent.
So about the game, boy, wasn't that nice to have them dominate another team in a New Year's Six.
Oh
It was
yeah,
really refreshing.
it was really great.
just-
Well, this team is built differently. I mean, I've gone back and looked at the statistics of, and the only one in recent years that Notre Dame I think had a chance was that Oklahoma State game. I don't have that particular breakdown of where Notre Dame versus Oklahoma State was, going into that New Year's Six. But like, let's not forget that, that was Marcus's first coaching bit, and he had like 3 weeks to get ready for it with all of Kelly's guys and the whole bit. So it's like just kind of thrown into the position to coach, and it's like, dude, you're still learning on the job of how to get into your thing. So now that Coach Freeman is much more, it's clearly his team. He looks way more comfortable, not only A, in the spotlight, but B, just in the pressure cooking, making those decisions. He's going to be much more relaxed per se, and not be like, oh shit, I'm like the head coach of Notre Dame and this is a big game. Like, no, he can move beyond that. And hey, let's just coach our football team in this big environment, this big stadium. It's like, look, we've played in many big stadiums this year, and okay, this one just happens to be in Miami with good weather. Okay. So I think that those are positive things. But if you look at the other New Year's Sixes that Notre Dame was in recently, or even the playoffs games against, say Clemson or Alabama, I've gone back and done the stats, and it's like, yeah, Notre Dame got there and probably deserved to be in said game, at least in the Kelly years, not in the Weiss years, no. But like, Notre Dame was lacking in the statistics, and this year that is not the case. No. And that is why I'm much more comfortable now with my predictions and with the assessment of where Notre Dame is, and why I feel comfortable saying Notre Dame will beat Penn State.
So can I say a positive conspiracy that I have for Notre Dame? So I believe that one thing I thought that Notre Dame did really good against Georgia is I thought they beat a lot of whistles too. Like, they were so good in that game that it could have been like that. I thought that a lot of whistles were against them. Mm-hmm. And they still stayed focused. They were really on top, and I can't help but believe that just the way, because there's not an NCAA officials, that there's regional officials, that I can't help.
Well, they're by conference, yeah.
But you know what I mean. But I can't help but think there's bias. I think this game, I think ESPN's going to want Notre Dame to win because, and here are my reasonings. I think ESPN really likes Marcus Freeman. He's very marketable. I know that Penn State also has an African-American coach, but I think Marcus, they're going to play, if they make it to the championship, they're going to really play Marcus Freeman being the first African-American coach to coach in the national championship.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And stuff like that. I think the media, and we all know that college football playoff is controlled by ESPN, they will pick the officials. I wouldn't be surprised to see some 50-50 calls go Notre Dame's way. They might get a favorable whistle. That's a conspiracy. I'm just saying. I really think that they like Notre. I think ESPN. I actually
heard it's the same officiating crew. I read this on X. I don't know how truthful this is. I read that it was going to be the same officiating crew that was in the fucking Sugar Bowl game.
Well, then, if they were biased against Georgia, that means
they weren't though. Like go look at the penalty yards. I was so pissed at the refs in this game. I thought Notre Dame got the shaft in it. Now, I think Notre Dame played well enough to like officiating for me is like part of the environment. Like, it's like weather. It's like, okay, you're gonna call this tight, fine. That's the way we roll. I appreciate that Marcus Freeman has coached his players to come out very aggressive. When we're getting two roughing the punter calls in a row, because we're getting really, really close to blocking a fucking punt, that's the kind of stuff. It's like, I'd rather you err on the side. It's like when I was playing hockey back in the day and Red Snapper was, doing the big brother coaching thing. And he's like, if you're not in the penalty box, you're not playing aggressive enough, you know. And then it's, you know, next game I get 2 tripping penalties or something. You know what I mean? Like, so it's Notre Dame playing aggressive, you know, kind of pushing the issue, not to be dirty and not to cheat, but it's aggressiveness. You know, we're not like doing blatant, you know, cheap shots and you know, like every now and then there's an occasional hands to the face or face mask, but that's you know, just, you know, shit happening. You know, I think they're feeling out where the refs are and how tight they're going to call it. So, I'd rather have an aggressive Notre Dame team that does that. And then one more thing, and I'll throw it back to you. I used to look at penalty minutes when I started doing this podcast in 2020. And then I went back and started looking at where the national champion was in penalty yards. Did I say penalty minutes? I did. I've got hockey on the brain. In penalty yards. And I recognized that it was not statistically significant. They're in like the 50th percentile, the national champions were, in penalty yards. And I'm like, this is irrelevant, that means. It's like you could either be really good or really bad, but it's not impacting truly the outcome of your team's success in winning games. Sure, maybe a key penalty and a key point of the game could really fuck you up if it's a tight game. Fine. But in general, good teams don't let that happen to them because they're already transcending that kind of thing. So that's why I stopped keeping track of penalty yards. I don't pay attention to it. I also don't pay attention to time of possession anymore. I
would also say good teams stay disciplined too.
True, but like I mean, I was gonna say Navy and Army and stuff, but like at the same time, it's like there's discipline, but then there's playing aggressive, and you know, a flag is thrown. Like I think those are very different things. Like I'd rather you be disciplined in your assignment with what coach has drafted up, you know, on a whiteboard. That's the kind of discipline I want. I don't want you to hold back because you're afraid of getting a penalty. No, fuck that.
What I mean is like being disciplined, meaning okay, I played baseball, right? Being disciplined and learning from your first at bat what to you is a ball but is a strike to the umpire, and adjusting. That's being disciplined and adjusting to the way that the whistle's being played or the game is being officiated. That's one thing I wanted to give. You know, I think Notre Dame did because if you look, I think a lot of the penalties came early in the game, except there was that one pass interference that was underthrown on 4th down. I didn't like that call.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just have a feeling that we're going to get a Kansas City Chief whistle. I really do. I hope Notre Dame does. That we get referee treatment like the Chiefs.
I mean, I'd be foolish to argue with you that the money men and the big media and those kind of people don't want, you know, a bigger audience, because they all absolutely know that Notre Dame would draw a bigger audience, right? So I'm not ignorant to that.
And also, what's the story of Penn State? Wow, they rebuilt their program since their scandal. Like, I don't know that ESPN would want. But that would be the narrative, and I don't.
No, that may come up. I mean, I also don't want to underplay what Franklin has done there. I mean, he was doing okay at Vandy. It wasn't great. You know, I mean, the guy has his career, including Vandy, is a 69% win percentage. But at Penn State alone, he's 71%, and that's pretty good to be in the 70s.
Joe, I'm just saying the powers that be would probably much rather have Notre Dame than Penn State because the.
Well, I mean, I don't. You're not wrong. All I'm saying is that, look, on this show we clearly want Notre Dame to win. Duh. Franklin at Penn State has won 3 New Year's Six bowls. You know that? He's won 3.
Right, but I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know if they want them in the Natty over Notre Dame. I'm just saying.
He's got
I
a
don't
Rose
think
Bowl
it
win.
matters.
It's a conspiracy.
I don't
He's got a
think
Rose
it
Bowl win.
matters.
He's got a he's
get
got
the
a Fiesta Bowl win, and he's got
I
a Cotton Bowl.
I get the conspiracy theory side of it, but frankly, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the team that plays better ball, and that to me, regardless, maybe
I don't
it's
think it'll
just a
come
blue
down to
blood
like an
sports
offensive
fan in
pass
me
interference.
that to me, it's you play beyond the refs. You pretend like they're not even there. You play physical. You play disciplined. You beat the other team across from you.
Except when the
game.
ref is running down the sideline, you can't be in his swim lane.
Well, I'll say one thing. Ask ASU how a ref can impact the game on a targeting call, or ask Cal when they played Miami.
But the point is to put the game so far to reach that those calls don't matter.
Yeah, I'm with Red Snapper on this one. I don't think this game is going to be as close as the Georgia game. I actually think Notre Dame has the potential to blow this fucking team out of the water. Okay,
good.
I really believe
that. Makes me feel better.
I really believe that. And that's not to say that Penn State is a dog shit team. No, they have earned where they are, getting through the playoffs and where they were seated, and et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm saying is when they have played good teams, which we will get to tonight, they don't play well. Okay, no. And the resume of what they've done, their record in the regular season, who they played, and now they're a function of their schedule. But I would also expect them to blow some of these teams out, and they didn't. Okay, and it's like, well, when you were presented with the opportunity, you didn't really seize it to make yourself a little more convincing. Now, they're still a good, football team. And again, we're going to talk about, 8 statistics that they are much better than Notre Dame at. But when it comes down to it, when I'm looking at Notre Dame versus Penn State, and we look at everything, and then we also look at some other things that are not on my spreadsheet here. I think of things, and I drink a scotch, and we figure stuff out. Hey, and this is not cherry pick stats. It's okay, I wanted to look at their quarterback. How does their quarterback perform against good teams? He doesn't do well, quite frankly. All right, and we'll talk about that. How is Penn State's opponents' records, and how does that compare to Notre Dame's opponents' records, right? That's the kind of stuff that A, other people aren't talking about, and B, are not on what I usually talk about week in and week out on this podcast, with the typical stats of champions, right? This is now comparing individual things of the opponent and, kind of throwing a little bit of rocks at the strength of schedule thing. So, Mac, anything else we need to go with before we go over to Luis? We've got a lot of stats to get to tonight.
Have a good night, everybody. God bless. Stay safe. And, oh boy, I hope I don't throw up tomorrow watching the game.
No, you're not going to throw up.
Have a great night, everyone.
We're aiming for losing our voices, not throwing up.
That's right.
Well, I could, you know what? Can I be honest, but real quick? So I, like me emotionally, I get really, really high and very, very low. That whole second half, it was so overwhelming. I was literally crying the whole when they kicked off after halftime.
Nice.
It's just I get so much anxiety no matter what the score is, and so I just know what I'm in for tomorrow. It's gonna be tough.
Then let's say a rosary to exercise some demons.
Amen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jimmy Joe has to do that.
Trauma out of our system.
Hey, have a good night, everyone.
What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. So is that Joyful Mysteries? Yeah, we'll be fine. It's also I was talking to my son's godfather. So when Notre Dame played Georgia, it was Goddaddy's son's birthday. Well, tomorrow is Baby Irish Faithful's birthday. He's turning 1. He's turning 1 tomorrow. So we're going to continue the streak, okay, of people with little kids having a birthday. Okay, so there you go. So take that. All right, Luis, our front man. We're gonna shut up and we're gonna let you preach, my friend.
First and foremost, hey, Red Snapper, Happy New Year. Belated Happy New Year and belated Merry Christmas to you.
Happy New
Merry
Year, bro.
Christmas.
2024, guys, was, I'm not going to tell you guys from the...
It was
You guys
a
already know.
doozy.
It was something that I could never imagine, and especially the last month and a half. Like I've told you guys, 1,001, 1,000,001, 101, and I'm going to keep on saying it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, JTL. Thank you, Red Snapper. Thank you, our faithful Irish. Like, you guys came to my life and made something impossible possible. So with that being said, why not Notre Dame? Why not this football team? Why can't we not make the impossible possible? Why can't we have our boys? I know we're just some normal fans that sit in the stands, but we have a fan like JTL. We have a fan like you guys, like Red Snapper, Irish Faithful, 5'0", wine and cheese, that love and breathe Notre Dame football, that have suffered for 32 years. Why not play for us on this game? And you'll have something for the next one. But for this game, play for us that have been with you through thick and thin and suffered through pain and all. We believe in this football team from the beginning, and we haven't stopped believing. And above all, we have some wonderful fans like y'all that stand for this team and believe in this team. And Marcus Freeman, we believe in you. So do us a one. Do us a solid. Win this one for us. Go out there and beat their ass and show that we are the University of Notre Dame.
Amen. Yeah, it's hard to. All right, show's over. Good job, everyone. No, I'm just kidding. No, Luis, that's great. No, it's 100% right. You know, like I'm trying to place like where I am now as a fan, because it's like I want to beat Penn State. Like Franklin, like with his stupid glasses, I just want to have him like take a stray pass to the dome and knock his glasses off his face, you know, when he's trying to like cover his mouth with the play sheet, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Wouldn't hit a guy with glasses on.
that's funny. No, but like seriously, like the dude, fuck you, ESPN. Like, why do you keep showing video of him talking? Sorry. There, thank you. Siren, that's much better. A bunch of a white background page with a bunch of like dot matrix paper and numbers here. I love it. Penn State's starting to piss me off, and like you have the typical banter. I don't get too wrapped around the axle around fans. Maybe Ohio State fans, but they because they're insufferable people. But the Penn State people on Twitter, they've been quiet the whole time, and now only recently a few of them have been chirping right now. But like I don't have a whole lot of bad blood with them. Obviously we have the Snow Bowl, and we lost to some games to them back in the day. But like in general, we don't have that much of a history with Penn State. I think the last time we played them was in the Weiss years, right? So I'm not too worried about like the history of Notre Dame versus Penn State. I mean, it's a big marquee blue blood type of program. The last time they won a title, I think, was 86, right? So they're in the hunt, as well, right? So I don't want to take that away from them, but like Franklin just like is just running his mouth. He just needs to shut the fuck up, and he just comes off as a classless clown. And that's really what it comes down to.
Man, like what I don't like is like what they're making out of. I like what Marcus Freeman said, that color should not matter. It's your accolations of what you have accomplished is what should matter. And that is very true. Like they're making this what is not supposed to be. And unfortunately, that's what's marketable, and that's what's going to sell and give you clickbaits and all that. But
yeah, I think it's clickbait. I agree.
And I say it because, man, I'm sorry, I get emotional. Like when we beat Georgia, it was 31 years, 30 32 years of suffering and crying and all and like just embarrassing humiliation, But
Do you want me
when I
to
heard that
read the
today,
whole all the adjectives that I came up with?
yeah,
Well, let me find it. Hold on. I'm kind of put you. I can't cut you off there. Sorry about that. There we go. Lyrics. Searching, pain, anger, shame, anguish, jealous, maybe, fake, sorrow, sadness, chains, suffering, lonely, falling on our face. That describes Notre Dame and New Year's 6 wins prior to this Georgia game, right? Now I don't want to dwell on that, right? Because we got the win. Let's move on, right? But I'm saying those are the that's the suffering that we had, that we as a program, like, I think we just had to get over that shit, right? And stop feeling sorry for ourselves. Can I say it that way? And now that we're like, no, like we are a good football team. We've proven to ourselves, maybe some people are freaked out about, Hard Rock Stadium still. Fine, stay freaked out. Look, take confidence in the stats. Take confidence in the numbers that we're going to talk about real quick here. And we're just going to go on that, right? Penn State has not proven to me that they can beat a team of high caliber, all right? Yes, they played SMU and they played Boise. I get that, right? But there's some other teams that they've played that demonstrate that they've been suspect, okay? And that's what I want to focus on. I want to be very objective with this game because I'm tempering all my emotions about Notre Dame in the Natty. Look, we got to take care of business tomorrow. Period. I'm not even thinking about going to a Natty right now. I'm like, let's shut Franklin up. Let's beat Penn State, and here's how we're gonna do it. Okay, they're just gonna be another notch on the belt, another merit badge, however you want to describe it. But we got to take care of business, and we can't play shitty either because they are a disciplined football team. The way they dismantled Boise State's rushing offense was no joke. Okay, that is the best thing they have going for them is their defense. Okay, which we will talk about. All right, so we can't overlook them either.
Right.
Luis, anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out with this. You guys took a chance on a stranger that just came on this show and went on this rampage because of the love I have for Notre Dame. But it ain't so much about the love that I have for Notre Dame. It's because you guys know what Notre Dame means. You guys make Notre Dame special. Individuals like you is what brought us together right here, right now. We have one goal in mind is to see Notre Dame victorious. And you know what, guys? We're victorious already. We have each other. And I'll forever have you in my heart. You guys made me believe in something that was a dream as a kid. To see, to dream, to have hope when I didn't have hope. When there's a way, there's a will, and there's a will, there's a way. And you guys made that way for me. To finally see the University of Notre Dame with my bare own eyes. The smell of it, the grass, the football field, the stadium.
I mean, it's mostly snow in all honesty, Luis, but yeah.
Man, it's heaven on earth for me.
And that snow fell a little bit softer and looked a little bit wider, I guarantee it.
Yeah. It's
like
a pretty Christmas card. I will say that, yeah.
And you guys made it special. So let's keep it going for other individuals as well. And Notre Dame, win this one for the fans that love you.
Yeah.
From day one.
Yeah, Luis. I mean, I'll say this, Luis. Like the passion that myself and others on this show have demonstrated. Look, you're in the same boat, man. I think you've always been part of it. We just have to find each other. Like I don't think it's us taking a chance on you. I think it's you taking a chance to just, oh, who's this Fighting Irish Faithful guy? He sounds drunk on this show. What's wrong with him? Right? Okay, we'll listen to him. Which, by the way, at some point I'm going to have to hand the ball off to Red Snapper to do his co-host duties because we're running low on scotch, and there's way too many stats to get to. Sorry, Glenn Foundry. Well, here's the thing: I'm feeling way better right now, right? I'm coughing way less. So this is the first time I've actually feel whole doing a show since pre-IU. So that's been a minute. But I think we just had to find each other, Luis, right? And that's not to belittle your feelings or whatever. I'm trying to prop you up as you've always been, I think, a diehard Notre Dame. You just had to find the like-minded, like-hearted folk, and like I'm looking at everyone here on the space. All right, I'm here in Indiana. Red Snappers down in SoCal, Max in NorCal, Luis, you over there in Reno, Jimmy Joe's in Idaho. We got Irish JTL in Iowa, so we're hitting all the I states off the wheel.
Where's Jay currently?
Jay's in Texas. Okay, where's William? I think William's in the. Well, I don't want to guess, but I'm gonna guess the mid-Atlantic type of state. So all I'm saying is, like, there's only 2 people that are actually in the same State of the Union on this show listening live right now. And what are you guys like fucking 400? You guys are like 400 miles away, So it's like and some would argue they should be 2 different states, but that's a whole other topic. But the just because of how big California is, but that's not meant to sound political, even though it kind of sounds that way. It's not like we're talking about. It's not like we're.
Fuck the Giants.
well, I'm with you on that one. It's not like I'm talking about like East Oregon seceding from West Oregon and joining Idaho. Like, I'm not talking like that, right? Even though that actually is a thing. Go look it up. It's kind of funny, but the all I'm saying is. I think the fan base has always been separated, and that's what makes Notre Dame real special. And so Luis, I don't want to take anything away from you and your feelings, because they're right, they're yours, they're justified. All I'm saying is I think we just had to find each other.
You
and
found
then
your
just
people, my man.
And like had we found you sooner, you would have been at the Stanford gathering. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the timing of shit and people jumping on social media, on X, on this platform, and finding our podcast. Sorry I didn't have a blue check sooner. I don't know, but it is what it is. Maybe at some point we'll throw video onto this thing and do StreamYard. We'll have to clean up the other side of the studio here, which isn't so great. But that being said, only 4
Patience
other.
has his virtue, guys. Patience has his virtue, and everything in God.
You know what the doc said? She's like, just get a green screen and cover it up. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, you're justifying that cost? Okay. Okay.
Hey, Happy New Year. We have a lot to look forward in 2025.
Amen, brother.
Amen. All right.
And I got to be at work at 3 a.m. in the morning, so I'm going to hear a couple of you, and I'm going to go to sleep.
All right. Sounds good, man. All right, Luis, our front man, thank you so much. Here's what we're going to do. Red Snap, we're going to hand the keys to the car over you. I want you to bring on, flip a coin between Jimmy Joe.
Oh, I already gave Irish JTL the power. So.
All right, you hand off the power. I'm going to go get some more power thirst here and join you guys.
Right on. Irish JTL, hi, brother.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
I'm dipping into bottle number 2, Joe, so.
Nice. So
Mama's JTL, number 2?
I'm in bottle number 2 of the bourbon.
What are we drinking?
To be fair, I drank a half of one last night when I thought we were going to chat, so I kind of planned my drinking around the spaces, but
hey, it's all good.
Talking.
All good. Absolutely. So what are you most looking forward to, or what about this game coming up tomorrow are you really jazzed about?
What I'm really jazzed about is Drew Aller has looked like an absolute demon in the first 2 rounds. He's thrown some drop in the bucket passes. He's made it look pretty good. And now it's not SMU and it's not Boise. And no disrespect to them. No disrespect to them. But wow.
But
that kid,
they're not us.
you're correct. When you watch the film on Drew all year, when people start getting pressure on him, he gets very loose and very rattled, and that should bode well for us. Now, Katron Allen, I don't remember the other running back's name. They're both 1,000-yard rushers. They have a backfield probably top 6 in the country. I'd put ours like second.
Yep.
If you include Riley, I'd put us first. But
they're
strictly running back wise, I'd put us second. I think Katron Allen and whatever the other dude's name are probably top 5, top 6. So that's going to be something to see. But here's a take. Penn State's defensive weakness is not their front 7; it's their back 4, back 5, and I think Riley throws for 210 yards.
Joe, I'm actually on that with you. I think a lot of this game is going to be a wash. I think the offensive defensive lines are going to have some great battles back and forth. I think we'll take the defensive line. I don't know if we'll see as many tackles for loss and sacks as we had against Georgia, but if we can keep that trend going, absolutely, I'd love to see it.
I'd be okay with that.
That's definitely. I think that's going to be another, tip of the cap to Al Golden scheming up some good stunts and just.
The great thing about Al Golden the best quote he ever made, in my opinion, when he came over from Cincinnati and he had his press conference to become the defensive coordinator of Notre Dame. And the thing that stood out to me about his press conference when that happened was, you don't make adjustments at halftime. You don't make adjustments at the quarter. You make adjustments drive by drive.
Yep.
And I think that this guy, I mean, as much as I love Marcus Freeman and I love what Denbrock cooks up to play to Riley's strengths, although I wish we would have run the quarterback power a lot earlier last week. Well, I was posting it in the group chat over and over, like, run the quarterback. Georgia's sus against it. Then we start running him.
Damn bubble screens they kept throwing first.
Yeah, no, that ain't it. They're Georgia.
Even Nick Saban shotgun on fourth down.
TV and said, we ran the quarterback 7 straight times against them because they can't stop it. Well, if the GOAT's telling you what to do what the GOAT says. But I really think the way Al Golden dials up these defenses, Drew Aller is going to be in a bad, bad place. And I don't think Singleton, I don't think Singleton and I don't think Allen and Singleton they average less yards per carry than us. They've had a lot more carries. They don't split it with their quarterback, and we've still outgained them and yards per carry them and out touchdown them. The only thing they have is total yards, which, okay, so you're running 2 backs, we're running 4. If you count Riley, we got Aeneas, Riley, Price, Love. I think the X factor is, if you watch Penn State against Ohio State, that game only stayed close for a relatively short amount of time because they got the pick 6. They picked off 2 very quick ones against SMU and ran them back. Whoever wins this turnover battle, which by all weights and measures should be us, we have 31 takeaways and most points off turnovers. Whoever wins this turnover battle is going to win this game. And I think the way that Golden schemes, I think we pick Aller off at least once, probably twice, force a fumble somewhere, and we end up winning this shit. Like, it's going to be closer than Georgia, I think. I think it's going to be like 27-17.
10-point spread?
10 points versus 13.
That's what I think it'll be. I think the SEC is very overrated. I think Penn State's better than Texas and Georgia, but I don't think they're us.
Well, they're definitely not us. That's for sure.
They're definitely not us, and we could literally blow this game open.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I think
because their secondary,
I think it's very much from what you were saying. I think it's very much from what you're saying that it's going to be our secondary that does, in my opinion, is going to be the X factor.
Yeah, agreed. And their secondary is not going to be the X factor. So whatever Abdul Carter does makes a big difference. But their front seven is great. If they get pressure on Riley, it's going to be rough. If they don't, wow, Riley might throw. If Riley throws for 180 and runs for 60, this game's a blowout. It could be 31-13.
Good stuff.
I would be
Good
perfectly
stuff.
happy with that, by the way.
Yeah. If you guys, by the way, the reason why it took me a little longer to get back, I walk outside. The doc is actually in the kitchen getting a midnight snack here. She says, I actually encouraged her to come in here, but she declined. One of these days we'll get her. It's just one of those things. Squeaky wheels get greased, right? So she did not feel comfortable jumping on, but she did say go Irish. She says hi to everybody, sends her love. And then she said that because we're in the Orange Bowl, we just have to all drink screwdrivers.
Oh.
So there you go. Orange juice and vodka. So
Can I drink gin?
Why not gin and juice? There you go. You read my mind.
That's what I'm saying.
all right.
Gin and juice, bro. Let's drink some gin and juice.
I would advocate
That's what I'm saying, Louise.
SoCal guy rep, 100%.
I gotta drink some gin, but yeah, that'll be fine with me. I'll drink gin.
I'll just take the orange juice without the gin, though.
Here's my problem. The vodka that I liked having, A, doesn't go well with a screwdriver, but B, the vodka I liked was nice Russian vodka like Stoli. That was my favorite vodka, and now with all this, Russian bullshit, it's like I can't buy it anymore. It's trash. So that sucks. But sidebar.
Can I give you a anonymous TV quote on the Stoli?
You can, yeah, go for it.
I want to see if you guys know where it's from. Why are you calling here? I can smell the vanilla Stoli from across the phone. Anyone?
I actually don't know what that is.
Vanilla Stoli through the phone.
Sorry.
Tony Soprano.
I was gonna guess The Sopranos just based off of the language there, but
Tony Soprano talking to Irina.
I actually I've only watched the pilot of The Sopranos of all the shows. I know, which is crazy because I watched all of Breaking Bad. I've watched all of Ozark, which was disappointing. The end. But Breaking Bad was fine. But I should watch The Sopranos because I still have my Mac subscription. So
I'm never listening to this podcast again.
Okay, fine. Turn it off. Right.
I have watched The Sopranos no less than 40 times all the way through.
Oh my! Okay,
it's so good.
Okay, well here's and it's kind. I've actually been kind of on the hunt for a new series or something to watch. The last series I watched, which was on Max, and then we'll jump over here. I watched the Chernobyl miniseries that was like 5-6 episodes. That was really good. I really liked that. So it's a couple years old, but I really liked that. I liked that kind of, it had like an engineering angle to it, and that kind of, like where are the holes in the problem here? Like that kind of stuff speaks to me because I work for a big company and safety is of paramount. So so we see that, what was happening in the show and it's reflective of what happened in reality back in the day. It's like, okay, there's the lessons learned. But okay, moving on.
It's funny, Joe, before you move on, it's funny that you said that because I was on
3 Mile Island is the biggest nuclear disaster, and that's not too far from Penn State. Oh.
Yeah. I was on a call today, and it was a very, very big company. It was Honeywell, and I think you all know who Honeywell is. And they have their fucking hands in everything.
Yep.
And my boss is the president of our company, and I'm the VP of our company. And the inventory lady comes on, and she's like, "Oh, we're gonna bring on the senior director of blah blah blah, whatever packaging." And me and my boss off to the side on the team's chat were like, "Senior director is pretty fucking big at Honeywell. Like, we're fucking nobodies." We got president titles and VP titles, and we're worried about the senior director because we know when you're a senior director at Honeywell, our VP and president titles don't mean jack.
That's funny. That's funny.
It humbled me.
That's good. I'm just a lowly engineer in my company, but yeah, I've been there a minute, and I got a good performance review. And what's funny is like, as time has gone on, I won't lie, like, as much as I don't really bring in my personal life, my professional life into this podcast, people at work, A, know about the podcast because I can't shut up about it, and B, people can understand some of my MO and personality at work with the fact that I do run a podcast. So I don't know if that's my ability to be rambly or to be very data driven, which I am at work as well. So I don't know. It's really interesting how there's a little bit of crossover, not so much of work into the podcast, but the podcast definitely has spilled into work where people actually recognize it and it comes up in conversation and stuff. So
I think it's a scope, Joe, because the lead engineer, my senior engineer, reports to me, and he's 100 times smarter than me. Like, the guy just knows what he's doing. And I think the engineers just kind of go with what they do. So
yeah.
I think it's a very, very fucking, I don't want to say noble profession, because my engineer is 10 times smarter than me. And
we tend to like what we do in general. We tend to be, we tend to be cynical as well.
Statistics and facts and figures driven.
Except if you're a Purdue fan, because apparently they can't. Sorry.
Yeah, Purdue sucks. But when I'll go to Nathan. I'll be like, listen, I need to know how much 20 parts of ALO20 aluminum weighs with screen printing on it. He's like, oh, it's this. And I'm like, thanks, buddy. Because I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
He's the smartest guy in the room. Joe, I assume you're the smartest guy in the room too.
Yeah, I don't do that kind of stuff. I'm more kind of like try to use logic and basis, but maybe that's because I went to Gonzaga. I don't know. All right, let's do some statistics since we're on the topic of engineering and data and stuff. We're gonna start with the scary stuff. Okay, I know, Jay. Sorry, I see you. I said I'd give you some good statistics. We gotta do the read the scary part of the bedtime story first before we get to the happy ending here. Okay, so. Did the normal breakdown. All right, Notre Dame stats versus Penn State stats, right? And we go down the list, right? There's about 25 of these suckers. Here's the deal. Going head to head, Notre Dame, Penn State, looking at them, what is Penn State better? And I don't mean better like within like 5 to 10, kind of rankings. I mean like a vast difference of things. So like, for example, rushing defense, they are 8th in the country. We are 34th. Passing touchdowns, okay, clearly they're better. Everyone's better than Notre Dame. They're 15th in the country. We're 52nd, okay. Other stats, so that's kind of the margin we're talking about here. Other stats include total offense, Third down offense. Red zone touchdown defense. Tackles for loss. Red zone scoring percentage. And passing attempts per touchdown. Now, a couple things. Rush defense. Most teams are better than Notre Dame in rush defense. But what matters is what happens when we play them. We tend to lock them down. Case in point, IU and Georgia were both, quote, better in rush defense than Notre Dame, and look at the results of those games, okay? So if the pass was to dictate the outcome of this game, same thing would happen. Additionally, passing touchdowns and passing attempts per touchdown, pretty much every team Notre Dame has played this season is better than Notre Dame. I'm pretty sure Army was better at Notre Dame than passing attempts per touchdown. Okay, so point being is that's a wash as well in my book, because consistently Notre Dame has been behind the 8 ball in those two statistics, and it hasn't mattered because we still won the fucking game. And then total offense, okay, fine. Okay, you put up more yard points than we do, all right? You're 25th in the country, we're 49. I don't care. Okay, what I care is, can you put more points on the scoreboard? Okay, so I'm going to cross that one off the list as well.
And what that tells me is our defense is giving us a shorter field. We're getting better field positioning when we start on offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, here's the one legit stat that does kind of throw me for a loop with Penn State. Now, here's the best part. It is the 16th ranked stat of my 25. Okay. It's third down offense. They're really good. They're 15th in the country. Now, they're not better than the national champion. They're 47% on third down conversion. Notre Dame is 80th in this stat. We're not good. We're not good on third down. Now, what I will say is Notre Dame is good on fourth down offense.
I was just going to ask, what's our fourth down
Our
conversion?
fourth down conversion is really good. We're 8th in the country, but here's the deal. Penn State's not terrible either on fourth down. They're 13th in the country. They're 70% on fourth down. We're 73%. So we are better, but I would put that as like in the tie category. Like we're within 5, rankings or something real close like that. So third down offense is a concern. They have the good ability to move the chains in general. Now, I did not look at third down offense of Penn State against the, quote, good teams that they've played this season, which we will definitely get into later. That's part of the happier part of the story here, the bedtime story, because it's 11:30 at night here on the East Coast. Good thing I'm working from home tomorrow, and Notre Dame's game doesn't start till 7:30. With that, let's take a sip of whiskey. By the way, we finished the bottle of scotch, and so we're pulling in the West Cork Irish whiskey from Stevie D Irish. So thank you, Stevie D Irish.
Nice.
And it's probably 6 a.m. for him right now. So he may actually jump on live. So everyone send a DM to Stevie D Irish right now and say, when you wake up, you might be able to join the show. Oh, hey, Justin Roush, where have you been? Or maybe it's Natalie who finally jumped on. Run the damn ball, Natalie. So really, if we got the third down offense, that's the real one that does bother me, because that is a legit stat. And then there's just 3 other items, but those other items, are falling into the teens and in the 20s of the statistics. So they are better than Notre Dame in some of these statistics, but it's not enough for me to really get worried. I'll be very honest with you. Most teams are better at Notre Dame than passing the ball. Most teams put up more yard points than Notre Dame. It doesn't matter. I talk about yard points kind of in jest, right? Total offense, because a lot of people talk about it. But total offense is a function of my yards per point calculation, which, of course, Notre Dame is better, but that's for the end of the show to make y'all feel really good and help you go to sleep tonight. So questions, comments, concerns about what Penn State is good at as a football team. If not, I will say this. This is one other thing I watched. I haven't watched Penn State much. I've watched them really only twice this year. I did watch them versus Ohio State, because I was kind of hate watching on Ohio State, and I was disappointed that Penn State lost. I didn't catch a whole lot of the SMU game, but I did watch a lot of the game against Boise. They put Boise on lockdown. Penn State did a phenomenal job of wrapping up and taking care of Janty for Boise, locking up who I would say is this is the deserved Heisman Trophy winner. He didn't get it, obviously, right? But no one asked for my vote. Penn State is a disciplined football team. They are a good football team. They deserve the record they have right now, and they deserve to be playing in this game. So I don't want to take anything away from them, and what they did to Boise State was sound good football, and they were definitely the better football team that day. So because they are a disciplined team that was able to withstand the grind of the rushing attack of Boise, does make them a foe to be reckoned with. And that is not to freak Notre Dame fans out. That is to give the respect and the propers to a team that, quite frankly, deserves it. That's what they've earned. Okay? So I would be a fool to not say and recognize those aspects of this year's Penn State team. This is probably the best Penn State team Franklin has put together. Now, I didn't look at their statistics going back to 2015 or whatever, as long as he's been there or whatever it is. Okay, but they are this far in the playoffs. They've never been in the playoffs before, quite frankly. They've always been on the outside looking in, and here they are now. But I would also argue, because as we get into our next stat piece, they have taken care of business when they needed to, and when they have slipped up, i.e. Ohio State and Oregon, it hasn't hurt them too poorly. And so here they are. So that's that. Let's see. Red Snapper, let's bring Jimmy Joe on. He's been waiting very patiently since the beginning.
And then afterward, let's get to William. And then is CT new? Because he had requested.
Yeah,
but...
CT maybe C. Oh, it is C_T. Is that a Boston Tea Party reference? A chief content officer. Oh, see something in Detroit, some sports in Detroit. Cool.
Jimmy Joe,
you there? And then we'll go on to CT or Dario or whoever.
Hello, Irishman. How are you doing?
Jimmy Joe, we're here on a Wednesday.
Oh boy, this is so much fun. You're very smart, man. You're smarter than me, but I know that we are going to win by 2 touchdowns.
All right, so Jimmy Joe is predicting 14. Justify. Yeah. I hear the missus laughing at you in the background.
Oh yeah, the missus is here. The two of us, we are saying the rosary. We say the Hail Marys, so we're going to win.
Now, are you going to do that tomorrow, the day of the game? Because I know it's not Thursday over there in Idaho yet.
Oh no, we do it tomorrow.
Okay, before the game.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. I think that our defense is going to keep the score down for those Penn State men.
Yes, please.
But I think that we are going to win big because of our offense, because of Mr. Love and Mr. Price. But I am concerned about injuries. And
yeah.
I think Mr. Love, was he hurt in the last game?
He got a little shaken up. He had a knee brace on. I think he might still be in said knee brace. I don't know, which tells me it's a sprain or something. It's not a tear, so that's good. If it's a tear, he's out. So I do hope that his ability to run and cut and be effective as a rusher for us, does still carry through. Having a 3-pronged approach, you could even argue a 4-pronged approach with Aeneas Williams on rushing the football is way better than just having a 2 or 3 guy. So, and considering that Jeremiah Love has had so much of a positive impact, accounts for most of our rushing touchdowns, right? That is the way.
Okay, you use the word. I have a piece of paper here. Whenever you use a word I don't know, I write it down and
Uh-oh.
then I ask the missus.
You have a dictionary? Oh.
Well, I don't understand some words, and I don't know if this is a made-up word you use. You use a word called effectivity. Is that an English word?
Yes.
Is that a good word?
Yeah, it's not Polish, it's not Italian.
Okay, effectivity. Let's see. So if Mr. Jeter does good kicking, he has good effectivity. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather, we score touchdowns rather than rely on 3 points of a field goal. But what I will say this is the bulk of our points, are coming from rushing the football. And if I break down our 42 rushing touchdowns, who has the most right now? It's Jeremiah Love. He's got 16. Riley Leonard has 15, and then there's a drop off down to Price with 7. Okay, so if it's me looking at, this is a statistics math operations, all the math and operations people are just nodding their heads right now, and it's like you look at a Pareto chart, it's like who's the guy that's who's doing the most, and it's Jeremiah Love, then Riley Leonard. It's like those two guys you got to key in on, right? Aeneas Williams has 2 rushing touchdowns. Okay. That is what it is. So,
Okay, so Penn State, if they're going to look for Mr. Love, they're going to be looking for Mr. Price. Is that because they don't play that zone? Is that what it is? And can we do something when they're looking over here, but we're doing something else somewhere else?
I don't know enough of the inner workings of the Boise State offense and what Coach Cutter over at Boise was doing with the offense to really be effective. I did see that Boise was very effective, quite frankly, in some of the short passing game, and so I actually thought they could have called a better game to use the pass to open up the run, because they were flooding the box. Penn State was against Boise, and I think there's a lot of things we can look at of how we have how Penn State shut teams down and exploit that.
That Ken Brock watched that game film specifically.
Well, he should also look at the Oregon game, because Oregon put up a fuck ton of points against them. Granted, It's Oregon, but it's like Oregon got shut the frick down by Ohio State, which is a team that's playing angry right now.
You're going to watch film for what to do. You're also going to watch film for what not to do.
Agreed.
So,
I mean, Oregon put up 45 points against Penn State. Now, and this is the first time I'm looking at the box score, so I'm kind of doing this on the fly. All right, Dylan Gabriel had 4 passing touchdowns, and then they only had 2 on the ground, right? So I'm not, gonna get all crazy here and say, oh, well, the key to beating Penn State is passing. No, not necessarily. But what I will say is that, and Dylan Gabriel had a great QBR, right? 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 283 yards. He's pretty good, right? So I'm not gonna. I don't want to take anything away from him, per se, but I don't know. We are not a high-powered passing offensive team at all. That doesn't mean we can't pass. It means how good are we against a team's passing defense, right? That's what it comes down to.
I think overall, whether it's on the offense or on the defense, we are going to be better because I think our boys are in better shape. They don't seem to be as tired as the other teams sometimes.
That's an interesting point you make, Jimmy Joe, and I don't really think of it as a fatigue thing. I think of it more as a freshness effect, because like week in, week out of the regular season, you play a game on Saturday, you play another game the next Saturday, right? When's the last time Notre Dame played a game?
Last Thursday.
It was Thursday, as Mrs. Jimmy Joe just pointed out. It was Thursday. So Notre Dame has played quote unquote the same schedule. We're just offset the schedule by a couple days. Just shift the schedule. Notre Dame's just in that game in game out thing. So people are freaking out over like, oh, Penn State's had 2 more days to practice. Really? Like, are you really going to get that much more in for Notre Dame for 2 days, right? Like, maybe. I don't know. But I think Notre Dame's more in a groove. And furthermore, and here's the evidence that's clearly unanimous, look at the 4 teams that are left standing in this playoff. All 4 of these teams, Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, and Texas, all 4 of them
had a bye.
did not have a bye and played that first game at home. All of them did. Okay? Which is really like weird. I was not expecting that at all. Okay? So I think there's something to say about like, oh, if you have a bye, do you have like more rust on? Yeah, because the evidence is exactly what's happened this year. Okay? Now, is Penn State really going to accumulate a lot of rust in 2 days? Probably not. But are they going to be that much more fresh? I don't think that either, quite frankly. And so that's just my thing, right? I'm more interested in, is Jeremiah Love 100% good to go for the game? Is Howard Cross 100% good for the game? That's kind of where my brain is, right? I'm looking at some of the key individuals that have made significant impact on this football team, and are they available? And that's where I want to go with. So let's move on. Jimmy Joe, any other final thoughts? I got to get some of the stats stuff done and do it
thank you very much, Mr. Irishman. Go Irish! And namaste, everybody.
Namaste, Jimmy Joe. Thank you so much for your input and the missus coming in there. Thank you, Mrs. Jimmy Joe. Is Mrs. Jimmy Joe on Twitter? I think she should have a Twitter account. It's going to be like nothing but the rosary and probably just making fun of Jimmy Joe. I don't know. Good stuff. All right. Red Snapper, here we go. What I wanted to do, so I've been inspired by my previous, I guess I have Jim to blame. Jim of, by way of, he's a Michigan fan, but he lives in Massachusetts, and he was claiming that he wanted Notre Dame to beat Georgia, but then he was talking up Georgia's strength of schedule, so he was talking about both sides of his ass there. And the fact that he was a Michigan
very confused individual.
Well, he is. I don't know. So that being said, minus 10 points to him just right off the bat. So I did the same thing. But I did a little wrinkle. I did this for the IU game, because IU had a lot of good stats going in their direction. I was like, well, hold the phone. Who the fuck did IU play? What's the record of their opponents? And the Sagarin. So let's just recap high level, and then we'll shoehorn this in with Penn State. When I compared Notre Dame to IU, this is back on December 17th. IU's opponents on average had an average record of 5.1 wins and 6.9 losses, where Notre Dame at the time, it's still today if I just look at the regular season, 6.8 wins for Notre Dame and 5.9 losses. Okay. In addition to that, I looked at the Sagarin ranking of the regular season opponents at the time on the 17th. IU's average Sagarin ranking of all their opponents was 86.4. Notre Dame's opponents at the time was 65.3. Well, actually, I've modified this. So Notre Dame today is 65.3 because I went through. And then I did the same thing with Georgia because I didn't do this prior to the show against Georgia, but then Jim of Massachusetts, Michigan fan Jim was calling me out saying, oh, my stats were flawed. But then I did the same analysis that I just described for Georgia, and it was better as far as the Sagarin ranking, by about 15, 18 points there for Georgia's Sagarin ranking opponents, which doesn't surprise you with a SEC schedule. Fine. But then the record of Georgia teams was almost identical to Notre Dame teams, right? 6.8 wins, 5.1 losses for Georgia's opponents, right? So very similar and close to Notre Dame at the time. So I was like, okay, and then we see the results of what happened. So I feel very confident in the statistical piece going forward, especially at the end of the season when it's like teams have kind of already shown their zebra stripes. They're not going to deviate far from the plan, right? Like, and that's not to say like the past always dictates the future. No, a team can blow up and be amazing in a game, right? And I hope it's Notre Dame. My point is, all right, who did you play? How well did you do against them? And then where are you now? Okay, so let's go through Penn State's regular season opponents. Okay, they started up against West Virginia, a 6-6 team. Then Bowling Green, who was 7-5. Kent State 0-12. Illinois 9-3. UCLA 5-7. USC a 6-6 team in the regular season. Yes. Fuck the Trojans. Wisconsin a 5-7 team. Ohio State 10-2 in the regular season. Washington 6-6. Purdue 1-11. Minnesota 7-5 and Maryland 4-8. The average record of all those teams is 5.5 wins, 6.5 losses. So Penn State's opponents, on average of the regular season, have a losing record. If I do Notre Dame's regular season, those 12 teams Notre Dame played, Notre Dame has a winning record for their opponents, 6.8 wins, 5.9 losses. Okay, so Notre Dame has a, quote, tougher schedule. Okay, now if I do the Sagarin ranking today, or a couple days ago when I did this, of Penn State, those teams versus Notre Dame, I won't go through all the numbers, but it's as low as Ohio State, because Ohio State is number 1 in Sagarin, and as low as 228 in Kent State. So they're all over the fucking place. Versus Notre Dame's regular season opponents, let me go 3 pages to the left. We are as high as 127 in Purdue, a common opponent with Penn State, and as low as 20 in Louisville. Believe it or not, today, Louisville, of the regular season opponents we have played, is the best team Notre Dame played in the regular season, which is kind of funny. So the variation and the variance of Notre Dame is way less than Penn State. So Penn State's opponents are all over the fucking map. Penn State's average Sagarin ranking for their opponents in the regular season was 68.4, Notre Dame 65.3, so pretty close. Now, here's the deal. I expanded this analysis one step further. I looked at the point differential of Penn State over their opponents, or even minus, and then took the average, right? So what does that mean? So, like, for example, when Penn State played USC, they won in overtime by 3 points. So that would be +3 for Penn State. Okay, they beat the shit out of Kent State, +56. Purdue, they only beat Purdue by 39. We definitely beat Purdue by more than 39. So the average margin of victory of Penn State in the regular season over their opponents is +19.3. So that's +19.3 over teams that on average had a losing record. Notre Dame, whose opponents on average had a winning record, is +26.3. So not only did Notre Dame play, quote, a harder schedule, despite what Sagarin's strength of schedule says today, in the regular season, Notre Dame not only played tougher teams that had a better record, but also beat them by more points.
By an average of a touchdown. That's a significant difference.
Exactly. 7 points. So that was a new wrinkle of a statistical piece I wanted to understand, because I was paying attention more to point margin. And one of the things, the number one important stat that I have on my spreadsheet here is scoring margin. National champions on average have a scoring margin of 25.4. Notre Dame is 24.9. Or excuse me, 24.1. Penn State, 17.9. That's another touchdown, Red Snapper.
I know.
Basically, it's 6 points, basically. So I wanted to leave y'all with that to start, like, turn the tables here of, okay, Penn State as a whole against their opponents in the regular season, they have not been tested. Okay, yes, they played Oregon and they put up a lot of points against Oregon, but Oregon also just allowed Ohio State to score a lot of points, and Oregon was suspect, and I was not surprised that they lost to Ohio State at all. I was hoping hoping Oregon would win, number one, because I don't like Ohio State, and two, I mean, it's just, I want Notre Dame to have a home and home against Oregon. Can I say that? I don't know why we fucking don't do that. They are definitely the best team on the West Coast consistently. They have a great program down there in Eugene, right? Everyone's got Nike shit all over the place. Is that why we don't play Oregon? Because Notre Dame's afraid of their Under Armour deal and Nike getting in there? And sorry. I want us to have Nike. I'm sorry. I do. Like, don't get me on my deficient glove conspiracy from 2018. That's a whole other topic, you know. At one point, there was some article that I cannot find on the internet anymore, but it was like something about like teams having like knee and ankle injuries and like trying to link that with like
Under Armour shoes,
yeah, it was like what kind of cleats were they wearing, what kind of surface, you know, were they playing on, grass versus turf, you know, like all sorts of shit, you know. I think it has more to do with.
Didn't you break that down with statistical significance?
I did not do that. No, I actually wish I had. You know, I've been more about like, you know, no. What I looked at was very high level. It was like the teams that win the Natty. What's the logo on their jersey? And it was like Nike. You know, like that's pretty much who is. The only team that wasn't Nike was fucking Michigan last year because they got Jordan, which is basically Nike, you know. So I don't know. Anyway, questions, comments, concerns, or anyone want to throw rocks at my...
Let's pass it over to William.
William.
He's been waiting patiently muted.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Thanks for taking. I'm glad to see you're on the mend.
Thank you. The coughing has subsided. William, we got to ask because we were dropping GPS coordinates basically for where people are. Where are you at, if I may say? I just need State of the Union.
It's in my bio. It's North Carolina.
Okay, North Carolina. I was gonna guess Carolinas or something, you know, kind of mid-Atlantic like that. But all right, North Carolina. Good.
Yeah, but I'm an Ohio boy, so whatever. Anyway,
what does that mean?
Real quick, I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? You got like a picture of Brutus on the wall? Like, where are you going with this?
What? Bruce is in New Jersey, dude.
No, Brutus, the fucking the Bucknut mascot.
Oh, fuck that. What are you doing?
I don't know. You had me worried. Hey, I've been drinking. Okay, I'm freaking out. Okay, who's freaking out? Okay.
So quickly. So here's the deal.
Now you can go slow. Go slow. Let's ease into it. Let's put some easy listening on. All right.
All right. So Neil Diamond.
Oh, you want Neil Diamond? I got more uppity Neil Diamond stuff.
Hit the bell.
All right, Red Snapper requested the bell. I'm not really sure why, but continue.
So I think we're going to have to run the ball and play not perfect, but
hey William, you're getting robotic on me. You're like far from your Wi-Fi, or you're like inside of an airplane hull.
No, I'm at home. Hold on, let me try.
All right, you got a secret spot where you get good cell phone and Wi-Fi reception?
Yes.
There we go. Now he's clear.
Is that better?
Much better. You do not sound robotic.
So,
like a member of the Sticks.
I think that we're going to have the secret to this game is going to be we're going to have to run the damn ball effectively, and
Bring Natalie on now.
We'll have to play just dogfight right up front. The front four on defense is going to be critical. I think we're going to shut them down on the pass. I really do. I don't think we're not Boise State. That quarterback.
I have more to come about that.
Yeah. So the reason why I say about the front four is because I know this guy's a fucking statue. He does not move.
Drew Aller?
Yeah.
Did you know that was going to be my next stat piece? Good on you.
No, but I'm just no. I mean, I've watched enough Penn State games over this year to notice that this guy is worse than
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, right. When it
That's
comes to
funny.
fucking,
That's funny.
I was going to go with our guy from 3 years ago, but I can't remember his name right now.
Jack Cohn?
Yeah, he's worse than Jack Cohn.
Hey, you cut that shit about Jack Cohn, all right?
But listen, I'm not. Hey, I know he's your boy. I'm just saying.
I didn't say he was my boy. I'm just saying, like, we guys just give some propers. You know what I'm saying?
All I'm saying is he's not as good as Jack Cohn as far as movement, and that's not saying a whole lot.
Ooh, that is not saying a lot. You know.
So
Drew Pine was more.
If we can get Oben or one of the inside guys or KBA, get him rattled, it's over. He can't throw, and he's already demonstrated that if he gets rattled. I can't remember which game it was. He got so rattled in the first quarter against I want to say it was Oregon that he fucking sat down and was like distraught. He had to get the Franklin to come over and freaking get him turned around. So, and speaking of that douche canoe, Franklin, this guy acts like he's some kind of messiah to football, and we got to get a PR team for Marcus, because Marcus should have looked at him and said, well, you know what? You're right. Everybody should either be in conferences or not. I think everybody should not be in conferences. As a matter of fact, Penn State was not in a conference until until in the 90s. So what are you talking about, sir?
Yeah.
So
sometimes silence and ghosting dumb comments like that have no bearing on the outcome of a game, like for a head coach to make conference discussion type comments just seems so stupid. It's like if you're the AD, maybe but like the head coach, what is that? Who cares? You have your schedule. Play your schedule.
It was just so bizarre, like how it was like the Franklin show, and they gave him all this.
This is the second time he's done.
Yeah, and then they let him do it, and this guy, he's a bozo, man. I want to see him choke it so bad. So, and I think the key, like I said, is I'm not sure if we're gonna get Love in there or not. I don't want to say that we should ice him, but at the same time, I think we ought to be a little bit cautious on using him.
Use discretion. I agree.
I mean, if he's not 100%, he's not able to be contributive, and we don't want someone who's a liability, and that's not what I'm saying about Mr. Love. But I'm just like you didn't play against Georgia, like I'm not sure what a knee brace is gonna do for you. Like we just don't know. And Notre Dame's I think they do the right thing of protecting our student athletes when necessary. Like if he was no go because of a torn ACL or something to that effect, they would have told us.
Right, and this kind of ties into what I was going to say. Is like, well, because Love and like all other players are very highly competitive, so they want to get in, they want to play when they can contribute. Which kind of ties into the other thing I was going to stress is that I got blasted, and I've already discussed this with other people, by your buddy Mike Singler about championship or bust, because high level competition. You're a guy who came on the show and you were like, who the fuck are you? And he was
I didn't say that. I knew who he was. I just thought he was kind of no. I just thought he was rude because he just all of a sudden I'm talking and just doing my thing, right? And he just leaves, and I'm like, well, that was fucking rude, Like anyway,
because he put the question out, and I was like, well, yeah.
No, he wanted to talk about recruiting, and I was not gonna have recruiting because I'm not even thinking about that right now because we're still mid fucking season and we got the players on this team right now. I'm not going to start looking down the road at next year's guys. Like, they'll still be there. That's nothing against the guys who decided to join the University of Notre Dame. Hey, we welcome you with open arms. I'm just saying, you're not playing for my fucking football team this year. I don't want to talk about that. I'd like to talk about our football team that's doing good this year. Like, it'd be another thing if Notre Dame had like a ho-hum 8-5, Coach Cinco, Brian Kelly team, and it was like, yeah, let's start talking about next season. That wasn't even close to what we were doing. We were in the playoff hunt at the time, and I don't even remember what fucking game and week it was. And I was just like, people just want to talk about recruiting. And like, look, here's the deal. If you like talking about recruiting, talk about recruiting. You have literally, and Mr. Singer said this, I think that's his name, Mike is his name.
Yes, Mike Singer.
He's like, you have endless content to talk about. That's 100%. And you want to know why? Because it's a fucking knitting circle. It's a bunch of young guys in fucking high school who are putting up great highlight videos, and people are getting excited almost inappropriately about their potential. Yes, we can always talk about the excitement of potential. I am so excited about my son's potential to play for Notre Dame too. Okay? It doesn't fucking matter until you show up and end up on the field. And where he cut me off, or where he left, is when I was like, yeah, that's not really my bag, because I'm like, you have to actually show yourself on the field. And like, take someone like Justin Brent, a very talented individual from Indianapolis who went to Notre Dame but didn't do jack shit when he was there. And that's nothing against Justin Brent personally. It just didn't happen for him. Now, he had some off-the-field antics that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go do some, Google research, and, it's a little inappropriate. But my point is, like recruiting is one thing. And and look, you do need good players, so don't get me wrong that I'm writing off recruiting. All I'm saying is, like, to me, it's a knitting circle of potential, and it doesn't actually have weight to what is happening now. Like some of these guys may pan out, half of them may transfer, or nothing will happen. And then you have someone like Anthony Knapp, who's a 3-star, who's fucking starting at tackle for Notre Dame. No one was you know what I'm saying? Like let the coaches do their fucking job. Let the players get through practice and two-a-days and grasping the playbook and doing some of this other shit. You want to talk about recruiting? To me, that is an empty, void where you'll be wrong more than half the time.
Right, Joe. And the reason why I even bring up Mike Singer is because guys like him keep showing their asses because him spouting off like that. But
no,
he spouted off on me.
I don't want to be rude to him because he's a quote professional, and he has to write articles to put food on the table for his family. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't want to be an asshole to him, but I'm also like, don't. If he's poo-pooing me because I don't talk about recruiting, I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but I'm like, there's a reason why we tend to not talk about that on this show, because I've been disappointed before. Can I put it that way?
Yeah, well, you're also based on statistics. Statistics come from objectivity and production.
In college. Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't trying to get on this tangent. I was just saying that
it's cool.
Blasted me. He blasted me because I said championship or bust. And he put a bunch of words in my mouth about, so we should fire Marcus Freeman if we don't get it. And
what?
I'm like, yeah.
Douchebag.
And I'm like, and then like all his homers start piling on me. I'm like, I didn't say that shit.
Look, I don't have any problems in general with Notre Dame's beat writers. Okay, I've actually had a couple of pleasant interactions with some of them.
Joe, you know that. He ain't even that.
Well, and you're not wrong there. But again, people who are commenting on Notre Dame, like take Tyler Horka, right? Like the guy comments on Notre Dame a lot. Okay. Which is fine, right? And I've had interactions with fuck, what's his face over at the South Bend Tribune? Oh gosh, it'll come to me. But anyway, what's his face? Older guy, a real respected journalist, but a legit writer.
Matt Fortuna? Is it Matt Fortuna?
No, and it's not Pete Sampson. It's fuck, what's his name? Jeez, I can like see his face and hear his voice, but regardless, I've had pleasant interactions with him. Okay, and you, and again, take some of our other blogs, right? Some of these other guys that like take One Foot Down. That's a great example. Okay, the guys over there, these guys are professional media type people, right? I don't want to take anything away from you. Believe it or not, I'm actually wearing the shirt that I've worn twice for both of my kids' birth, and it's a shirt that was produced by One Foot Down. It's in remembrance of the 2014 victory over Michigan, 37-0. Remember the 6, and that is the shirt I am wearing. I've worn that for both of my kids' birth, and I remember when I first wore it for Toddler Irish Faithful when he was being born. We were just doing whatever, and he came kind of quick, and I was like, oh, let me change real quick, and then I come out of the bathroom, like the nurses are there, and the wife's like, starting to like push or whatever, and she just looks at me, and that I'm wearing a Notre Dame shirt, and she looks at me, she goes, really? I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in a good mood when our kid is being born, okay? And like, it didn't matter what shirt I was wearing, but it's like, I want to wear something that I'm going to remember and something that makes me happy. And so now, and I see this shirt, I actually think of my children being born. So you're welcome, Doc, so. Anyway, and so when I whipped it up for Baby Irish Faithful, Doc was just kind of did the eye roll thing, so if we're blessed with a third kid, she'll be like, is that packed in the go bag? I'd be like, you damn straight it is. So, and I don't wear it very much anymore, because, if we do want a third kid, props there to Red Snapper there, uncle there. All right.
The point I was driving at is that high competition, you don't settle for second. You don't settle for third.
Yeah.
High competition, high competitors. These young men, they know what's at stake. They want to go all the way.
And I appreciate that you're saying young men.
Anybody who freaking says anything different is a bunch of you don't understand competitive sports.
Well, and I would argue that I think Notre Dame has the ability to look. I'm not going to bullshit you guys. If I'm looking at the numbers of Penn State and I thought they weren't good, I would have told you. Okay? I've told you the statistics that I am concerned about, and the factors of Penn State that are good for them and may cause problems for us. I've already told you that. That's how we're starting the show, or at least with the stat piece. We didn't start it. That was over an hour into the show because this has been a long show, and it will be a long show. All right, William, we got you here. Yeah, we got William, William Simon, William Sim 886
Simon,
9 or 4.
Simon.
2410 Irish.
2410. All right, thanks, Mr. Frazier. William
2420. Sorry.
William Simon says, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Yo, welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful Show. Sorry, it's we got some regulars here, but it's all good. We're happy you've held on.
I appreciate that. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Coming in strong.
All right, perfect. Well, I think hopefully we're a team of destiny. I'm from Atlanta. The championship's in Atlanta. I live in Fort Lauderdale. The semifinals in Fort Lauderdale, and everybody knows about all the great coaches that won in their third year. So I'm just hoping that we're a team of destiny, and that we are a true underdog story this year. So I'm just, we're all hoping, because it's been a long 36 years. I was 8 months old when they won in '88. I was born in April of '88. So we've all been waiting our whole life, a generation of kids waiting for our championship.
I was 4. Red Snapper was 7.
That is correct.
Yeah, so we were little guys. Last time Notre Dame won a title. So I'm happy. I'm happy you joined us. So you think? So your thought of Penn State is like, look, this is just a necessary step. We got to take care of business, but then move on to what the fate, and that is what we're titling this show. This show's we started calling our pregame shows kind of like, I don't know, dramatic things, but we're calling this show Fate.
But they're a good team, but they have the drawbacks that everybody thinks that we have the drawbacks. They didn't play anybody all year. I know we play people, but the outside fan doesn't think we played anybody. They had an easy road in the playoff, but they have a great team. They mirror us in different categories.
That is true.
They stop the run well. They run the ball well. Two African American coaches. It's a lot of similarities. I want to see what they do against a quality opponent. I'd like to think we're a quality opponent. I think that we finally got over that hump after 30 years. But I don't necessarily think it's a stepping stone. I'm just hoping that they win the championship. I'm just being generic. I'm just hoping this is finally the year.
Well, and why would you not want to think that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, as a Notre Dame fan, you always have high expectations. This university is built on excellence and the desire for that excellence. So for you to be looking at this team, what they've done, and if you listen to this show, I don't know how much you've listened to us, but we're talking about statistics and national champions and comparing Notre Dame to that. Right. And when we're in the ballpark of what national champions have been doing, it's like, well, shit. Why shouldn't we be
we have
wanting
PTSD,
that and expecting that?
Notre Dame fans, we get excited and then we play a big game and then we fall short. So I hope that doesn't happen again.
Well, here's the deal. Forgive me, William. Have you listened to us before?
Once or twice.
Okay, once or twice. So I have, and I gotta find it because I kind of buried it here, and that was not by design. That was just kind of like, at the time it seemed familiar. Where did I put this? Oh, here it is. It is really buried. Wow. It's next to a bunch of Lou Holt stats. I looked at Notre Dame's New Year's 6 losses prior to, and the average, I won't go into the detail. You can listen to an older show, but the average margin of defeat was 18.5 points with a standard deviation of 10. The worst it was the Fiesta Bowl of 2000, minus 32 points to Oregon State, of all teams. And the best...
But they had Chad Johnson and Hushmanzada. I watched that game as a little kid.
That game sucked, I won't lie. But the point I'm making is... The point I'm making is Notre Dame hasn't been close. And the only time we really were close was the Fiesta Bowl of 2021, Coach Freeman's first year coaching for us. Now, if I fast forward to the present and I compare this team in the Orange Bowl here going forward to, say, Notre Dame of 2012 against Alabama, or Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, you compare to some of these other teams, especially in the Kelly years, Notre Dame's statistically was inferior to the opponent in all those games. One of those was a national championship game. Two of the other ones were playoff games, i.e. Clemson and Bama of 2018 and 2020. And then Ohio State 2015, we did lose by 16 points, but I'll tell you what, it just wasn't close. And of course Ohio State was coming off a really, really good year, and arguably that team probably could have made the playoffs. It didn't work out for them because they had a loss, I think, to Va Tech. But my point is statistically Notre Dame was inferior, and when I look at the stats of champions of Notre Dame in these other games and in these other seasons, year in, year out, and then I compare it to where they are today, this team is way better than all those other teams. Now, I don't have a side-by-side comparison right now, but we're better coached. But it's taken Coach Freeman a couple years, obviously, as getting his sea legs, if I may use that metaphor.
He recruits and develops players better than Kelly, and Kelly did a great job.
I think the
sharing
develop
the
part is the key thing of what you're saying, because the average recruiting ranking of Notre Dame in some of these years
11 or 12?
was not terrible.
Right.
I thought I had this margin. Oh no, I do have this. So
like
right now,
11 or 12 every year,
yeah, we're doing pretty good. It is improved since where it is. So
Right.
Notre Dame is 9.3 average 4-year recruiting. Now, I will also say that what Coach Freeman is dealing with NIL and with the
Right.
transfer portal is way more complicated than what Kelly ever had to deal when he was here.
Right.
But if I go back in the 4-year
Well, you got
recruiting,
those boys,
year
show up
in and year out, through
games,
all
a
of the
lot of
Kelly time from 2023 all the way through 2021, the average was 11.9. The best it was under Kelly was 10.5, and that was in 2014.
One year he had I think he had the number 2 recruiting class, but a lot of guys ended up being bust.
That wasn't Kelly. He did have a 5th year. Yeah, we had year 5, but he's primarily in the low teens. Yeah.
In that class, but a lot of those guys busted.
So I guess what I'm saying is there improvement? Yes. Is it significant? It's 4 or 5 recruiting rankings, which isn't anything to sneeze at. But it's not. Also, I wouldn't get too crazy excited. Now we start consistently recruiting in the top 5. Okay, let's get excited about that. But I would argue that's not necessarily a function of Marcus Freeman as the man. It might be,
Right.
but it's probably more of a function of him as an effective coach.
What
And
is the number one, I guess, key element to recruiting?
winning.
Winning.
It's winning.
What is Notre Dame doing
We're
currently?
finally winning. Very
Winning.
meaningful games. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what I think is gonna hurt, quote unquote, Notre Dame going forward, unless you get a bunch of stud guys that are really sharp and actually have some vision beyond the football field. Notre Dame is still gonna demand their players go to class. And not be douchebags or criminals or whatever, and that's not to necessarily make sweeping statements about other schools or program, even though it happens. My point is, Notre Dame is going to still require their guys to go to class. They're still going to require that kind of a thing, and so that they may lose some top-notch receivers that are really, blessed by God with great, hands. Well, and there's a story that Randy Moss could have gone to Notre Dame, except for his grades and some of the other off-the-field stuff that prevented him.
Somebody got into a fight or something, and Lou Holtz recommended him to Florida State, and then he got caught smoking weed at Florida State, and he went to Marshall, and the rest was history. But yeah, he could have went to Notre Dame. He wanted to go to Notre Dame all along. So I saw a documentary about it. He was talking about it. He wanted to go. So
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable of what that would have been of Randy Moss at Notre Dame versus like Marshall, where I guess he ended up. So, but anyway, all right, William, any other thoughts you have about this Penn State game? We got a ton of other things I want to get to. Actually, you brought up some close stats, so we'll leave you on here. We'll whip through this here. These are the stats that Notre Dame and Penn State are really, really close to each other. Okay, and when I say close, like within like 5-ish rankings of each other. So there's some head-to-head kind of things. And of my 25 stats I go in through, there's a lot here.
do you know if that linebacker's going to play? their All-American linebacker? Because they say he's questionable.
I have not looked at Penn State's roster, and specifically, I'm going to throw that one over to Red Snapper, see if he can look that up real quick while I go through this piece here.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not a problem. I don't have an intern in the room here to look that up on the fly while simultaneously and I want to get through this because I don't want to be up super late. It's already 12:30. And a lot of our people have fallen off because they're like, dude, you guys are making a long show. But it's the Orange Bowl. All right, it's a big deal. All right, here are the close stats that Notre Dame and Penn State are very, very close. Total touchdowns, the second most important stat. We're 3, they're 6th. Scoring defense, we're 2nd, they're 7th. Total defense, we're 8th, they're 6th. Completion percentage, we're 15th in the country, they're 9th in the country. Sacks per game, we're 28th, they're 33rd. Tackles for loss allowed, we're 21, they're 14. Red zone scoring defense, we're 5th, they're 4th. Red zone touchdowns, we're 16, they're 17. Sacks allowed, we're 24, they're 23. Rushing yards, we're 11, they're 18. And we have 217 and a half yards on average. They're 202.2. 15-yard difference. Potatoes. Okay, very small difference. Okay. Run percentage. Rushing the football. We run the ball on average 56.7%. They run the ball technically more than us, 58.1%. Very, very, very close statistics, and a lot of those are really important things. Total touchdowns, scoring defense, completion percentage, etc.
Abdul Carter is scheduled to play.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Red Snapper. Which means William ignored everything I just said and was just waiting on... No, I'm just kidding.
No, throw me under the bus.
He had no response to what I just had, and Red Snapper says something about Mr. Carter, and he's like, oh, okay. It's fine.
Well, no, I had some response to this.
I'm just giving you grief.
See, and this is where I get to throw a little bit of shade my brother's way, because even he led into it with the preface of, these aren't really statistically significant because they're so close. So.
They're really close. They're really close. He's hand waving it. No, some of these are in the top tier of what I look at, so.
Yeah, and I like how close they are.
Penn State was like 10th or something, which statistically that concerned me for a moment. Can we go back to that?
Which piece? I'm sorry. What was that?
I think you said that we were 18th in the category and they were like 11th. What was that category again?
We're 11th in rushing yards. They're 18th.
Oh, they are. Okay. I thought it was the reverse.
There's a 16 and a 17. There's a 21 and a 14. There's a 15 and a 9.
The 21 and the 14 kind of concerns me.
That's tackles for loss allowed.
Right.
So that means our offense gets 4.3 tackles for loss. They allow 3.9. So they're better.
Right.
But it's less than one tackle for loss. What was that?
Is that kind of inducive to all the blitzing we do?
Tackles? No, that's the offense. So that's tackles for loss allowed. So that's tackles for loss against one's offense.
Yeah, failing.
My bad.
No, that's fine. That's a function of like a run, tackle behind the line of scrimmage, or just like something like that. Yeah, exactly. So it tends, and it's not sacks, right? Sacks is different. Sacks allowed is very similar. They're 1.27. We're 1.29. We're like splitting hairs here. All right, so it's basically a tie. So normally I do this out to 1 decimal point, but this week I had to go out to 2 decimal points on some of this stuff because it's like really, really close. And it's like, well, which one is technically mathematically better? But it's like, well, okay. And that's overall as the season goes.
What are your thoughts of Penn State? I think they're a great opponent, but I don't think they've really played anybody. But that's what everybody says.
All right, here's the deal. You're setting me up here. All right, so we talked about Penn State's regular season opponents, how they have a losing record. Their Sagarin ranking is, quote, worse, and their margin of victory on average 19.3 points is worse than Notre Dame's in the regular season, which was 26.3. I wanted to shift gears because what do a lot of people talk about other than recruiting, apparently? They talk about passing the football. And a lot of focus gets put on the quarterback play. Thank you, Red Snapper. And rightfully so. They are probably the key position on the field that can make or break your season, right? I mean, we had Everett Golson at one point. It was a turnover waiting to happen, right? Like, and that at that point, you turn the blame to the head coach. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Pull him, like, what is loyalty getting you other than just a liability? Like, stop it, okay? Like, we may have loyalty to these guys because they took us to, an undefeated regular season and we like them. And, we always are trying to be positive. But anyway, I wanted to look specifically at Drew Aller of Penn State. And not so much him overall as the season, because we've already talked about that Penn State's opponents are suspect. I wanted to look against their teams they played that are, quote, good, either high ranking in Sagarin, teams they had a really close game with, or they quite frankly lost to, or was a, quote, important big game, i.e. SMU, Oregon, and Boise. So if I look at the regular season, I've got Illinois, who finished 9-3, USC, who is a common opponent with Notre Dame, but they went to overtime and they only won by 3. And then, of course, they have a loss to Ohio State in the regular season. They lost to Oregon, and they beat SMU in the playoffs, and they beat Boise in the Fiesta Bowl. Okay.
But are those great opponents, SMU and Boise?
Pardon? What was the question?
Not to be cynical, but they seem to have like the easiest road with SMU and Boise.
Okay,
no?
Get this. I wanted to understand specifically Drew Aller. How did he perform against these high-profile or quote-unquote good teams? And there's 6 of them. So Illinois, he had 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions and only 135 yards against a team that finished the regular season 9-3.
What was his completion percentage?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you had 135 total yards and no touchdowns. So why are you passing? Like, there's no effectivity to it. It didn't result in points on the scoreboard. Okay, maybe you kept a drive alive. Okay, that's different. Okay, but I'm I'm just trying to look at things I can pull off of a page and that I can say, this right here. I don't want to look at the ebb and flow of a game because then I have to watch film and you have to look at a lot of other things that are going on. Like you could have a touchdown not because you threw a great pass but because the offensive line blocked really well and you were in the pocket for 4 to 5 seconds. That is different, of just finding a receiver who's good at getting open in space. You know what I'm saying? I just want to look at like high level because I'm not going to break down film. Okay, I don't have time for that. I don't make time for that. But what I can look at is a quote unquote good team you played and how'd you do against them on the stat sheet. Okay, because we're a numbers based podcast. USC, okay, they won, and Mr. Aller had 391 yards. So good on you for putting up a lot of yard points against the Trojans because I fucking hate that team. But he had 2 touchdowns, but it came at a price. He had 3 interceptions against the Trojans. It's not good. It's not good to throw 3 interceptions to only yield 2 touchdowns. Okay? Let's go to
secondary. Yeah, good.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Ohio State, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception for 146 yards. Oregon, 226 yards. You could argue one of his better games. Right. 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions against Oregon. SMU. Now this I thought was interesting. And maybe there's a function they didn't have to pass the ball. I don't know. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and only 127 yards.
Oof.
Yeah. Now Boise, he had 171 yards, but 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So statistically, that one is the most effective and best game of Mr. Aller, and it's his most recent game. However, here is the problem. He was sacked 4 times by Boise, which maybe doesn't matter because he still threw 3 touchdowns. Okay, respect. But Boise is the 107th ranked passing offense in the country. Very bad. Okay? And so that's not good. Let's look at this other statistic, this opponent's passing defense versus and where they were. Illinois 78th, and he had no touchdowns. USC 98th in passing offense, and they got 3 interceptions on him. Ohio State's number 1 in the country in passing offense. Okay, fair. And no touchdowns, 1 interception. Respect to Ohio State. Oregon, 25th in the country in passing offense. 2 interceptions. Yielding 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. SMU, 79th in passing offense. No touchdowns, no interceptions. My point is Drew Aller is not a world beater quarterback. He's put up good numbers against shitty teams. Against these good teams, these 6 good teams, do you know how many touchdowns he has? 8 total touchdowns against 6 good teams.
What's his touchdown to interception ratio?
Oh, great question. I could do that on the fly here. He's got 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So as a whole, yeah, 8 divided by 6, 1.3 touchdowns to interception ratio. As a whole against good teams. And some of these games, he's doing nothing.
Right.
He got shut the frick down. Now, where's Notre Dame in this? Now, Ohio State statistically is number 1 in passing offense. Notre Dame is 5th in the country in passing offense. Ohio State is also number 1 in the country in passing touchdowns allowed, if that makes sense. Notre Dame is 13th in this stat. Illinois is 64th. USC is 28th. Oregon is tied with 28th. SMU is 110, and so is Boise. Notre Dame is just around that Ohio State margin. So if Penn State and their fans think Drew Aller is going to throw the rock all over Notre Dame, forget about it. Because you haven't shown that you've done it against good teams, and against these 6 teams I've played, you're all over the map, and as Red Snapper's pointing out, your touchdown to interception ratio is less than 2.
This is where I want the sound bite from Remember the Titans of we're going to blitz him all night long. I want him uncomfortable. I want him absolutely rattled. I want him running for his life. because that will be a turnover machine for us. And dude, okay, if this plays out the way just absolute tires fall off the bus of Penn State, you're going to have at least half a game that is reminiscent of the last 5 minutes of the USC game.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let me put this in perspective. Let's put this another way. So, what did we say the touchdown to interception ratio of Mr. Aller was? It was 1.3 in good games. Now, I don't have the quote good games on this statistic, but what I do have is Notre Dame quarterbacks. Every year I do this, and it's just shit I have in the hopper here in the spreadsheet that we can dig up if we need to. When an emergency, break glass, right? I have every single Notre Dame quarterback in general going all the way back to 2011, i.e. Tommy Rees.
Ugh.
And there's a few years I don't put in here, but
I bet you Tommy Reese's touchdown to interception.
Okay, here's the deal. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tommy Rees 2011. Okay, had to come in and save Dane Chris during the fucking South Florida game. People remember that, right? He won a pinstripe. No, he lost. Well, no, that was the Champ Sports Bowl we lost. Okay, he won the Pinstripe Bowl in 2013, even though it was vacated. Tommy Rees in 2011. Touchdown to interception ratio 1.4. It's better than Aller. Okay, Everett Golson in 2012 was 2.0. Even turnover prone Golson as a whole was 2.1 in 2014. Tommy Rees of 2013 was also 2.1. The best on this list is Ian Book of 2020, 5.0 touchdown to interception ratio. Okay. Jack Cohn. Where's Jack Cohn? 3.6, so don't talk shit. Drew Pine of 2022. He had a touchdown to interception ratio of 3.7. It's actually one of the better ones.
That's awesome.
Okay. Actually, I take it back. The best was Jimmy Clausen in 2009. A touchdown to interception ratio of 7. It's so good. It's so good. He had Golden Tate and Michael Floyd on that team, by the way. But the point being,
Rudolph.
Drew Aller, over fucking rated. He is not a world beater quarterback. He's put up over 3,000 yards. Yeah, but you played fucking Kent State and UCLA and a bad Wisconsin
Purdue
team. And, well, we played Purdue too. But my point is, against good teams, how are you doing, Aller? Okay? And you did nothing against SMU at home, by the way. Okay? And, okay, great. You threw 3 passing touchdowns against Boise. Sorry, Boise's 107th in passing offense or pass defense. They're not good. Okay? So, yeah, you kind of did what you're supposed to do. All right? Here's a candy bar because you good job. All right?
They don't even get a candy bar. They get the off-flavored fruit sucker that doesn't have a stick. It's got like the yarn that loops.
Ew, weird. Something about your nephew, Red Snapper, is I think his favorite candy are lollipops now.
Yes.
He got one at like the, I forget where we were. But he got one. Oh no, you know where it was? We went to the optometrist, because I had my annual exam, and they were like, "Oh, you got like suckers, like Dum Dums or something," and he was all over it. And I actually like him because A, they're small, and B, he has to like work to get his sugar intake, but he thinks he's won the lotto, so it's great. So I'm like, okay. All right.
I love it.
Let's move on, William. So we wanted to throw that stat piece out. So feel good about that. People who have survived over 2 hours of the show, hooray! We got Indy Fanatics and Justin Roush from Colorado.
All I want to hear is Natalie. Where's Natalie?
Where's Natalie? Run the damn ball, Natalie. I don't know. William, this is the kind of shit you're going to get on this show, man. Scotch and spreadsheets, and we got a lot of shit in this spreadsheet, and we're just scratching the surface. We got more, man. We got more. We don't have a whole lot on individual player performance. I do have the quarterback thing. There's a tab I'm slowly building because in addition to Scotch and spreadsheets, we are big proponents of running the damn football. And so we talk about that a lot. And so I'm building the Notre Dame run the damn ball database. I will say that. Now we've got Natalie hopefully jumping on to enlighten us with her rushing statistics. But yeah, it's great, and William, we're so glad you have joined us. So thank you.
Thank you.
If you're on long enough, we'll give you a title like Specialist of Special Teams, which is Mac. What do we got? We got the Secretary of Defense, which is Kevin Davis.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. I remember Adam Dowling. He was Director of Podcast Development.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Abby is our Chief of Staff. We've got a few other titles we've thrown out to the cabinet per se. Louise is our front man, so
the assistant to the traveling secretary.
yeah. We're I mean, we've been doing this for 5 years now, and doing the spaces has been fun and a much better way to interact. So we may go into video next year. We'll see. I don't know. There's a lot of editing that would involve from that, so I don't know what we'd have to do. So good. Well, thank you, William. You don't have to. I'm not kicking you off. We're just moving on. All right. Here's the deal. We threw some shit over at Drew Aller. We threw some shit over at James Franklin. Penn State's regular season opponents, how it's dog shit. Here's the last bit. This is the real good news here. Statistics: Notre Dame is better than Penn State, and these are the convincing things that like some of these close stats. And I didn't bother splitting hairs here about which one technically is Notre Dame better. Like, look, with you're in like 5-7 rankings, you're pretty darn close. But which one is Notre Dame significantly better? And what are those? So we're going to go from most important to least important, because how did we define that? We did define that by Stats of Champions, right? Because that's what the last 10 years on average national champions have done. So we better pay attention. So scoring offense, that's pretty important. It's technically the number 4th on the list here. Notre Dame is 4th in the country in scoring offense, 37.7. Penn State is 24th in the country.
Woohoo!
Okay. Now, the numerical value is not, crazy. They're 37.7, so 4 points. But it is more than a or a field goal. But it is still one possession. Next, rushing touchdowns, the 7th most important stat. Notre Dame is 4th in the country. They are 15th, but we are plus 10. We have 42. They have 32. Third down defense, we are 5th in the country. They are 30th. In fact, we are better than the national champion by having a third down defense of 29.9%. National champions over the last 10 years are 31.5%. Turnover margin, we are stellar. We've been talking about this as total turnover margin accumulated on average. So which also takes into account your team's offensive turnovers, right? So it's overall margin, right? It's the overall. I don't want to just look at defensive takeaways, because if your offense is coughing up the ball left and right, it's not really effective. Notre Dame is 2nd in the country. We are plus 18 in turnover margin. Penn State is plus 10, but they are 13th in the country. 4th down defense. We kind of talked about this a little bit. We are 5th in the country. They are 81. 81,
And
which is
fourth
huge.
down.
Which is huge because we know Marcus Freeman goes for it on fourth down.
Go for it on fourth
He goes
down.
for it on fourth down. Let's have some retrospect on this. Georgia, similar story. Georgia was 86th in the country at the time, and Penn State is 81, so they're only slightly better, but not enough to really like freak me out. To Indiana was second in the country in fourth down defense at the time. All right, so they were actually better than Notre Dame because we're sixth. But my point is, that's good vibes for Notre Dame and fits into our offensive game plan because we know we're not the best at third down offense.
But our fourth down offense
is pretty good. So, okay, moving forward. Passing defense. All right, this is the consistent bit of Notre Dame. We're fifth in the country in pass defense. They're 27th. And then the last two stats, I've saved these for the end. Again, the average. Then these are self-made statistics. Yards per point. It's your total offense divided by your scoring offense, and you get a ratio. You get a number. We are 10.8. We are better than the national champion average of 11.8. Penn State is 12.9. And then rushing attempts per touchdown, how many times you rush the ball before you strike pay dirt. Notre Dame on average is 11.9. National champions are 15.9, so we're much better than the national champion. Penn State is 17.9, despite the fact that they run the football more than Notre Dame. So those last two pieces work very, very well to Notre Dame's strength. Now, what I will say is this. Jeremiah Love playing and being effective in playing against Penn State
plays a lot into that.
It does play a lot into that. Now, I'm not going to freak out if he has a similar production that Notre Dame had or he had in the Georgia game, right? I'm not going to freak out because I feel like with Riley Leonard and Price and even Aeneas Williams, I feel like we have some depth back there. And I also think that Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, the team he has, he's created a patient team. It's like when it's a low-scoring game and you're in the teens or the low 20s, like no one's freaking out because like, oh my gosh, we haven't scored enough points. Like no. This is just a chess match at this point. And if we're just trading punts, but we're still up, that's okay, right?
As long as they're scoring, that's a win.
Hey, all that matters is that we put more points on the scoreboard than they do at the end of the game, and that's really what it is. I don't care how low the score is. I would actually prefer a low scoring game because that means the likelihood of a wild offensive breakout is significantly lower, right?
All right, segue to your prediction.
Penn State has been I had some like wild off the hand, not statistically based stat. I saw a screenshot of Marcus Freeman and Kirby Smart, like a pregame type press conference, and Marcus Freeman's looking all trim and proper and sharp. And Kirby Smart's there. He's got a shirt and tie on, but his tie's all crooked and it doesn't look right. And we win by 13 points. In a similar wrinkle, Franklin and Freeman at a press conference. And again, Freeman looks sharp. He might be wearing the same suit. It's been run through the dry cleaner. It's fine. But he looks sharp and ready to go. Franklin's not even wearing a fucking tie. Looks like a fucking slob, to be honest. And so I had a wild ass tweet, and I was like, Notre Dame by 21 plus. Now I think it's a little aggressive, honestly. And because I actually do think that Penn State is a more evenly matched team versus Notre Dame, and we talked about the statistics, versus Georgia. Georgia was very lacking in a lot of these statistics, and Penn State's not. But I think as a whole, based off of strength of schedule and even quality of record and opponents, Georgia was a more tested team than Penn State was. And so I do believe that Notre Dame has the ability to put Penn State in their place and beat them by more than 13 points. So I may go with my heart a little bit and go to the 21 range. I would love that. I don't think it'll be quite that high. That would be great. I'm not going to be upset, but logically, I can't say that. Oh yeah, Notre Dame's going to win by 21. I don't know if that's appropriate. But all that matters is that we win by at least 1 point.
My prediction: 33-13.
Woo! 20 points.
20 points.
Wow. I'd be down with that.
I think it's going to be a first quarter going into second quarter bruising, low scoring game. I think there's a defensive play, probably a pick six that shifts some momentum, or maybe we get another special team return.
Yeah.
Something to that effect that just blows it up, and then they have to start playing from behind. They throw a couple more interceptions because now they're trying to play catch up. And we play ball control and just take advantage of their past defense being as bad as it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Notre Dame has an opportunity to really take care of it. I mean, they're not terrible in their pass defense. They're actually better than Georgia, believe it or not.
But can we catch them loading the box? Absolutely, we can.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, let me put it another way. Notre Dame's 4-year recruiting average is 9.3. Georgia was 2.5. Penn State's 14. So on a talent alone basis, we clearly have better players. And so if you want to use that kind of, transitive property logic, okay, fine. So I don't know. It's it's one of those things where if Notre Dame continues to play smart ball and be patient, I think we come out ahead no problem. If we fuck up and Penn State is a disciplined football team, they can catch us slipping. But I think it's within our power to give it away. Quite frankly, can I say it that way? Right? If we have dumb play calls and we have poor execution or whatever, Penn State could beat us. But I don't think this team will have the mental errors like that. And so because of that, I'm very confident in Notre Dame, and in addition, backed up by statistics. So we invite Fanatics ND and Justin Roush to join us. If not, we're going to shut this sucker down. It's been over 2 hours in. Red Snapper, any final thoughts? I know you had your prediction there, but anything else statistically we need to be left with, or any wisdom from the Red Snapper?
I think, again, just like I started off with my impression from the Georgia game, it's the intangibles. It's going to be the toughness of this team. It's going to be the mental toughness, the physical toughness, but it's going to be the heart of this team. The heart of this team is absolutely what's breathing, what's pushing, and it starts with Marcus Freeman all the way down, and you see it. It is absolutely visible. It is palpable, and this team is just breathing it. So I am loving that, and I can't wait to see how it manifests in this game.
Yeah. It's I think it's definitely something that Notre Dame can take care of business and move forward. So I don't have an epic, closing rant like I normally do. But like I think Notre Dame's team has played with heart. And I think we will continue to play with heart. And I think our leadership, our coaching staff has prepared this team. I mean, look at the defense and look at all the players that have been injured and are out for the season. Benjamin Morrison, Riley Mills is out, Jordan Bethello, etc. One thing we didn't talk about at all is our superior linebackers. We have fabulous linebackers, arguably the best linebacking core in the country. And I think that is the heart of the defense, in addition to the leadership we have on the defensive secretary. Because of that, and the heart of where Notre Dame is, this team, I believe, is destined for more than Miami. And we're going forward. And I'm not getting into the year 3 thing. I'm not getting into the manifest destiny kind of rose-colored glasses, because we've been burned by that before. I'm thinking objectively, like, just look at where this team is, and look at our opponent. Look at what we've done. Look at what they've done. Look at their record. Look at our record. Look at their opponents. Look at our opponents. We've broken all that down for you guys tonight. I'm doing the best I can to be objective about Notre Dame football. Clearly, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I want us to always win every time. And I could maybe try to make an argument for Notre Dame winning every fucking game through eternity. But I refuse to dupe you, the audience, and dupe myself. And so going forward, we're going to be honest. We've always been honest, quite frankly. But Notre Dame belongs where they are. And they've surprised me this season, especially, go back to the dark days of NIU and shit. We have to get all negative and whatever, but... Oh, this is the best part of the song. Okay, thank you, Eddie Van Halen. But my point is, like, I think Notre Dame can take care of business, will take care of business. And we're going to see it tomorrow on the Rose Bowl. If you got work, I don't know how you're going to get work done tomorrow, waiting for this game to kick off at 7:30. But I'm excited. Hey, one more opportunity to watch Notre Dame, and that's all we can hope for. We've watched IU. We've watched, fucking the Georgia game, and now Penn State. It's like we've watched 3 basically bowl games in we're like extra time here, extra innings, we've watched our Irish now this many times. Like, it is great, and to watch them 3 times now post regular season is fabulous. It's like never ending football. I love it. So I'm happy with that. I think we come out with a victory, and regardless of the outcome of the game, we will be here post-game show, and we're there. So I'm very confident, very, very encouraged. The win over Georgia was huge for me as a fan, to let go of a lot of negativity and bad blood. And now I feel like me as a podcaster, I can just be very objective with where I am. And that's why I'm a little less emotional. I'm just very straightforward. So here we go. Go Irish. Beat the Nittany Lions.